Hello, people. I finished the book. This is volume 2 of Gibbon's History of the Decline and Fall of Rome. When I first started making these videos, these book report videos, it was with volume 1. And according to YouTube, that was 8 months ago. So I looked back and I counted up all my videos, and there's 44 of them. So that means that in 8 months, I read 44 books. I'm not sure if that's completely accurate. So I think when I do upload this video, I'm going to put a date on this one, and that'll help me keep track a little bit better. 44 books in 8 months, that's not bad. I think it was a little bit longer than 8 months. Anyways, Gibbon's Rome, Volume 2, 610 pages. It took me about 2 weeks to finish this. I really struggled through that Volume 1. I know it took me longer than 2 weeks. I don't know. This one was better? I don't know. 610 pages. I've already broke out Volume 3. It is also 610 pages. The book starts out with kind of a description of Constantinople. It talks about Constantine a lot. It talks about Constantius, and then it rolls right into Julian, and now they call him Julian the Apostate, because Constantine was the first Christian Roman Empire, or emperor. And after Constantius died, then Julian took over. Julian wanted to go back to paganism, and it was just a huge mess because the Christians had destroyed pagan temples. They had, melted down their statues. They wanted to be paid for that, and it was a giant mess. Julian didn't live too long, but he was a pretty good emperor. He went on this adventure in Persia, and that's where he was actually fighting he led from the front, and Julian took a spear in the side, and that's how he passed away. My first note says, Gibbon can write beautiful, page-turning stuff, and he can write brutal, desert-like stretches that I have to plow through. And that's basically it. There's shit in here that, I'll go a few pages and before I realize that I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about because it's so terrible. Gibbon never misses a chance to run down the church. So he runs down Constantine, which not too many people do. And he really, before Julian even comes on the scene, he's already lauding what Julian has done. And Gibbon lived around, he was alive while the Revolutionary War was going on. Little historical perspective there. He started writing in 1776. Started writing this. There's 6 volumes. Wonderful description of Constantinople in the height of Roman glory. Excruciating chapter on taxation and the death of Constantine, civil wars that follow his death. Constantius takes over. I just ripped the fucking page. These pages are so... God damn it. These pages are so thin. Literally, when I'm reading this, sometimes I have a hard time turning the page. That sucks that I ripped the page. The 4th eclogue of Virgil. It was just something weird. I went ahead and Googled that and looked at it, and Virgil was a poet. He lived before the time of Christ, and the 4th eclogue or eclogue looks like it. A lot of people said, "Oh, Virgil, he He predicted the birth of Jesus. I don't think so. I'm in the camp that says they were always talking about the sons of God, and that's all he did. He just wrote about something that they were always talking about anyway. Yeah, Christians, Diocletian, who was before Constantine, was pretty, he kind of hounded the Christians. And the Christians, when they were freed from persecution under Constantine, they had no problem going back to some of the laws that Diocletian had made and using them. And Gibbon kind of bounces back and forth. Constantine, when he dies, he had this funny idea that he didn't want to get baptized too early because if he committed a bunch of sins after that, you know, it was baptism that is what saved you. So really in the last moments of his life, that's when he's baptized. And he's baptized by an Arian bishop. Arian is spelled Arian, and the Arians, it's a constant theme that runs through these books, Arian versus non-Arian. The Arians just thought that since Jesus came after God, that Jesus was not as great as God, and through mental gymnastics, now we have this Trinity thing where even the fucking Holy Ghost is as great as God. Julian begins his reign trying to accommodate. Got to be real careful taking these out now. Julian begins his reign trying to accommodate all religions, but the pagans want revenge for the destruction of temples. And I'm supposed to read something here. I show myself, says Julian, the true friend of the Galileans. Julian thought that was an insult to call them Galileans. He wouldn't call them Christians. Their admirable law has promised the kingdom of heaven to the poor, and they will advance with more diligence in the paths of virtue and salvation when they are relieved by my assistance from the load of temporal possessions. Take care, pursued the monarch in a more serious tone. Take care how you provoke my patience and humanity. If these disorders continue, I will revenge on the magistrates the crimes of the people, and you will have reason to dread not only confiscation and exile, but fire and sword. I kind of like Julian. Julian invades Persia with some success. It's supposed to be like a pincer movement. His second army is supposed to come through Armenia. His second army never shows up. Julian realizes that he has to retreat, and it's a fighting retreat. The Persians harass them the entire way, and that's when Julian gets killed. So it's actually the 60,000 men that Julian was trying to lead out of Persia that elect the next emperor, and the next emperor's name is Jovian. Jovian, if I remember correctly, yeah, he doesn't live too long. And there's something else that I have to read here. The Christians had forgotten. Where the hell is it? Because this was good. The Christians had forgotten the spirit of the gospel, and the pagans had imbibed the spirit of the church. And it just means that they, when they had a chance to, they would screw each other. After Jovian dies, you get Valens, who is the emperor of the East, and Valentinian, who is the emperor of the West. This situation doesn't last long because in Volume 3, I'm going to get to the total collapse of the Western Roman Empire. Valens ends up getting killed at Hadrianopolis, and that's during the Gothic War. And, I've read about that several times. The Goths joined forces and begged to be led across the Danube. And when they're led across the Danube, the Romans realize it's a horrible mistake right away. That's it. Thank you for watching.